Every single week, while you're walking the aisles, deciding whether to grab the own brand pasta or splash out on the branded one, Tesco already knows what you're going to do. Not because they're guessing, but because they've got the receipts. Literally. Over 23 million UK households worth of them. That's not a number plucked from thin air. That is 23 million out of the 28.3 million households in the entire country signed up to the Clubcard scheme. More than 80% of everything sold in Tesco's stores is tracked and analysed every single week. Think about that for a second. Tesco has a more detailed picture of how British families spend their grocery money than the government does. And the question you should be asking yourself right now is, what exactly are they doing with it? Because here's the thing, at the same time Tesco is helping you save money with Clubcard Prices, they posted an adjusted operating profit of £3.15 billion. That's billion with a B. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how the loyalty card in your wallet connects to that number and what it means for your bank account every time you do your weekly shop. Part 1. The card that knows you better than your own family. Here's a mind-blowing fact to get us started. When Tesco first launched Clubcard back in 1995 and presented the data findings to their board, the then chairman Lord McLaurin reportedly said, "What scares me about this is that you know more about my customers after 3 months than I know after 30 years. That was 1995, with barely a handful of stores trialling the scheme. Now imagine what 3 decades of data collection looks like. We're talking about a data set that doesn't just tell Tesco what you bought, it tells them when you buy it, what you buy it with, what you swap to when the price goes up, and exactly how much pain you'll take before you walk out and go to Aldi. That last point is the one that should make you pause, because this isn't just about sending you a voucher for baked beans. A data system covering 23 million households tells Tesco exactly how much price sensitivity exists on a pack of chicken breast or a bag of spinach. It tells them precisely how far you'll stretch before you trade down or walk away. That is extraordinarily powerful information. And here's where it gets interesting, because Tesco doesn't just use this data to sell to you, they use it to sell about you. Brands like Procter and Gamble and Coca-Cola have paid to access anonymized insights from this dataset. The data company that helped build this entire system, dunnhumby, was at one point valued at around £2 billion. Not bad for a system that started in someone's kitchen in Chiswick. So the loyalty card that you signed up for to save a few quid on your weekly shop. It is also one of the most commercially valuable pieces of infrastructure in British retail, but we'll come back to who benefits most from that in a moment. Part 2. The savings that aren't quite what they seem now. Before we go any further, yes, the Clubcard does save people money. The Competition and Markets Authority looked at around 50,000 products on loyalty price promotion and found that 92% of Clubcard prices offered genuine savings against the usual price. Tesco themselves say Clubcard is saving customers up to £385 off their annual grocery bill. But here's the question nobody asks. What is the usual price? Which the Consumer Rights Group raised concerns that in some cases the non-member price had been inflated before the Clubcard discount was applied, while the CMA investigated and found this only happened in a small number of cases. 55% of the British public, according to the same CMA research, still believe that prices for non-members are inflated during these promotions. Ultimately, over half the country doesn't trust it. So what's actually going on here? Tesco is using the perception of savings, built on a mountain of data about your behaviour, to keep you coming back through their door. 82% of all UK sales at Tesco are now made by Clubcard members. That is not a loyalty reward scheme, that is the entire business model. And here's something to think about. If the Clubcard is designed to save you money, and the data it collects helps Tesco price things more precisely, who is ultimately benefiting more from that arrangement? You or them? Keep that question in the back of your mind. We'll come back to it later. Part 3. the numbers behind the nice adverts. Let's talk about what Tesco is actually earning, because this is where the cost of living picture starts to get uncomfortable. Tesco's adjusted operating profit hit £3.15 billion for the year ending February 2026. Sales, excluding VAT and fuel, reached £66.6 billion, their highest market share in over a decade. They also completed a £1.45 billion share buyback programme on top of paying out £937 million in dividends to shareholders. That is nearly £1 billion returned to investors in a single year, in the middle of a cost of living crisis that has left millions of households in this country struggling to afford the basics. And then there's Ken Murphy, the CEO of Tesco. Ken Murphy's total remuneration package came to approximately £10.8 million for 2025 to 2026. That's up from around £9.2 million the year before, and up from roughly £9.9 million the year before that, which itself was more than double his previous package of £4.4 million. Now here's the number that the High Pay Centre flagged when this was first reported. At the time, Murphy's pay more than doubled. He was being paid 430 times the salary of the average Tesco employee. 430 times. The High Pay Centre described that as one of the most extreme pay gaps of any company listed on the London Stock Exchange. Let that land for a moment. The person scanning your groceries, stacking the shelves, managing the self-checkout, for every £1 they earned, the man at the top was taking home £430. Now you might say, well, that's capitalism, isn't it? And maybe it is, but here's the thing. When Tesco is tracking the shopping habits of over 80% of UK households and using that data to extract maximum value from every transaction, while simultaneously paying staff at the bottom of the scale and rewarding shareholders and executives at the top, you have to ask, whose cost of living crisis is it? Exactly. Part 4. The AI future. Tesco is building with your data. Here's something that most people haven't clocked yet, and this is the part that is genuinely jaw-dropping. Tesco's CEO has publicly spoken about using AI alongside Clubcard data to make health recommendations to shoppers. He described a scenario where the system could say to a customer, "I've noticed over time in your shopping basket that your sodium salt content is 250% of your daily allowance." On the surface, that sounds helpful, almost caring and heartwarming, but think about what that actually requires. It requires Tesco to have a granular, ongoing record of everything you eat, week after week, year after year, and for an AI system to be making inferences about your health based on your purchases. That's not a loyalty scheme anymore. That's a nutritional surveillance system. If Tesco can see that your sodium intake is too high, what else can they infer? What might that kind of data be worth to an insurance company down the line? Tesco has been clear that personal data isn't released to third parties for marketing purposes, but the definition of marketing is shifting fast. In 2024 alone, Tesco delivered 289 million personalised vouchers to 7.6 million customers, an average of 38 targeted offers per customer in a single year. That's 38 times Tesco used what it knows about you to nudge your choices in a direction that benefits them. That's not loyalty, that's precision targeting. So let's go back to the question I asked at the start. With all this data, all this profit, all these shareholder payouts, who is the Clubcard actually designed to benefit? The honest answer is, both sides benefit. You genuinely do get cheaper prices on certain products, and Tesco genuinely does use your data to extract more value, price more precisely, and build a business that generated £3.15 billion in operating profit last year. The uncomfortable truth about the UK cost of living crisis is that it isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening inside a system where the biggest supermarket in the country has more information about your household spending than you've ever consciously given them, and where that information sits at the heart of a very profitable machine. The Clubcard isn't the villain here, but it is the mechanism. And now that you know how it works, you can decide whether the £385 annual saving is worth what you're handing over to get it. But I want to know your thoughts. Drop a comment below. Do you use your club card religiously? Or have you started questioning whether the savings are actually worth it? If this video made you think differently about something you do every week, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people see this content. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown of what's actually driving the cost of living in the UK.